Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night conversations. This evening conversation with Dr. Janet Smith Warfield, talking with us and sharing and us having a conversation about the power of your words. We are so delighted to have all of you here this evening. My name is Bob Warner, and along with my beloved, my wife, my light partner, we call ourselves light partners because we partner with light to serve our one sacred life. And we are so happy to be able to be broadcasting on Facebook this evening, as well as to all these bright faces that are in the Zoom room with us. Excuse me. Before we start this evening, some of you, we have yet to meet in this two-dimensional world, and we would like you to know a little bit more about the Co-Creators Convergence. So we're going to play a very fast-paced 1-minute slide video about the Co-Creators Convergence. Then we're going to get started on this evening's conversation. So please stand by. So there you have it, the Co-Creators Convergence. All of you who are new to us this evening, we'd love to have you join our Facebook page. Love to have you consider coming to our retreat in October down at White Eagle Lodge in Montgomery, Texas, and be welcomed every Thursday evening here as we have unbelievable conversations. Welcome, summer. So this evening, we're very, very happy to have Dr. Janet Smith Warfield sharing with us. And before we start, we've asked Rosemary Zytek to do a centering so we can all be around this virtual campfire in much peace, and then we'll hear from Janet. Rosemary?
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Noel. Greetings, everyone. My name is Rosemary, and I'm delighted to be here. It's nice to see everyone. And I would simply ask us all to, if it feels comfortable, close your eyes, settle into your chair, your bed, or the floor, wherever you're sitting. And actually, as Ram Dass used to say, be here now. As we breathe together, noticing the inhale, the cool air as it enters our nose. And on the exhale, the warmer air as you exhale through your mouth. As we center here together, joined here in community, I'd like to bring us in with the prologue to the Essene communions. Let us enter the eternal and infinite garden of mystery, our spirits in oneness with our Heavenly Father, our bodies in oneness with our earthly mother, and our hearts and minds in oneness with each other and all of creation. And with that, I would like to add that may the words passed amongst us tonight bring planetary peace, power, and prosperity. And so it is.
Deep breath and deep breath of gratitude for you, Rosemary. Thank you so much. Yes. May peace prevail in our hearts. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you so much. Wow. Wonderful. Well, it's a delight for me this evening to introduce our friend, Janet Smith Warfield. Among the many, many gifts that Barbara Marx Hubbard gave to Noel and I along our consciously evolving road was the opportunity to meet Janet in 2012, like so many other things that happened in 2012. As we were a part of the Birth 2012 tour, and Janet was a part of a limited number of us that were mentoring with Barbara Marx Hubbard for the year. What a delight to have you with us this evening, Janet. Janet has served wisdom keepers who want to understand and with clarity so that they can live a peaceful, a powerful, and a prosperous life. Through her unique combination of holistic, creative, right brain transformation experiences and 22 years of rigorous left brain law practice, she has learned how to sculpt words in atypical ways, shifting her listeners into an experience that is beyond words, transforming turmoil into inner peace. It's really our pleasure to have Janet be our conversationalist on this Thursday night. How wonderful it is. So tonight, we're going to learn to pay more attention to the power of our words and the energetic impact that they have on ourselves, on others, and on our planet. We're going to learn to choose our words consciously and intentionally to create, co-create, and manifest the kind of world in which we would love to live. We all are co-creators. Thank you all for being here this evening. Janet, I am going to give you the magic talking stick and invite you to dazzle us with words and teach us this evening. Looking forward to the conversation.
Well, we'll see whether or not it's a dazzle or not. It will be more of a dazzle if each and every one of you will speak up and express your own thoughts, do your own creation and co-creation. And this is not only about the power of our words, it's also about the power of our minds. And it's about a lot of other things, which I will bring in a minute. Planetary peace, power, and prosperity. And it is about the power of your mind when you are willing to use it consciously and intentionally to create, co-create, and manifest the kind of world in which you would like to live. And I almost hate to say this, but I'm going to say what I have hold of. I'm almost 85 years old. I've had a lot of life experience. And what this is about is a semantic solution to all the human created suffering on the planet. If you think about it, if each person on this planet were simply to bring peace, inner peace, personal empowerment, and prosperity, which is not necessarily money. Prosperity can include things like a walk in nature or a walk on the beach, free seashells that you get to pick up, going out and watching a sunset. So, but it's a sense of abundance. There is so much abundance on this planet. And if I can get these controls right. So before we start playing with optical illusions, which we are going to do, which will be a very specific focus and interactive, and I need it to be interactive. So I need you people to be speaking and engaged in this. I'd like to give you a little broader context, which really shows how this all ties together, how everything is integrated. So I'm going to simply focus on a few conceptual maps that great teachers have offered to the human race over the years. The first one being Alfred Korzybski's, "The map is not the territory." Now, Alfred Korzybski is now deceased, but he is famous for this saying. And I like to create some analogies or metaphors from that. So the map is not the territory. The words are not the experience. The menu is not the food you eat. Looking at a map of the west coast of Florida is not the same as driving north along I-75 and experiencing the beautiful bougainvillea swaying palms and Gulf Coast waters. And I have to keep moving my screen around so I can read the slides. In Hinduism, there's a concept called piercing the veil of illusion. Look at all the different parts of the world and all the different points in time in history that these concepts have been developed. So in Hinduism, they have a concept called Maya. And Maya in Hinduism is the phenomenal world of separate objects and people. What appears to be separate objects and people. And our words actually contribute to that because words, for the most part, separate, divide, and categorize. So this linguistic separation, which we connect with what certainly look like physical objects out in the world, creates an illusion that this is the only reality. And piercing the veil of illusion is seeing through that illusion that the objects we see and the separations our minds create are the only reality. And a lot of this comes, I believe, from the Vedanta Hindu tradition. If you want to go deeper in this, be my guest. There's a lot of information out there where you can explore it. An example they give is, for example, suppose you see something coiled on the floor and your first reaction is it's a snake, and maybe you recoil in fear. And then all of a sudden you realize it's not moving. And what you thought was a snake is nothing but a rope. That's piercing the veil of illusion. I did the wrong thing here. And then this is, another interesting, I can't get rid of this, my screen's in my way, but know yourself. Now, this is another concept. This was recreated, I believe, in like 400 BC in Greece. And it's the first, according to the Greek writer Pausanias, it's the first of 3 maxims inscribed in the forecourt of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. So this is another aspect of what we are doing here tonight. These are the broader concepts, but they all tie in together and they all relate to one another. And this is from the Buddhist tradition, right view. And it comes out of the Buddhist Eightfold Path. Another part of the Eightfold Path is right speech and also right action. And there's several, quote, right things. But according to Tricycle, when the Buddha defined views as wrong or right, he was not presenting a dogmatic or moralistic way of looking at the world, but he was pointing out that there are certain ways of seeing and thinking and acting and speaking, which will lead to the end of human created suffering. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be walking along and not see a root in front of you and trip over it and hurt yourself. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the human suffering that is created by either misperceptions or thinking that the way one person sees the world is the only way it can be, rather than opening one's mind and perhaps seeing the world from many different perspectives. And some of you, I don't have this in here, some of you may be familiar with Ken Wilber's AQAL diagram. I'll just mention that to you. I don't have it up here because I think we've got enough other material tonight. But that's a very interesting map of the territory. These maps are all really helpful, but they're tools or vehicles or guideposts. As Buddhists would say, they are fingers pointing at the moon. They are not the moon. And again, it's the same distinction that Korzybski made. The map is not the territory. So once you really get that, you can choose whether you're going to use a map to help you move along your own path, to give you some guideposts, or whether you're simply going to be here now and experience. Plato's cave, this allegory, this is another, I'm trying to remember when Plato was writing, and maybe somebody else knows. I can't remember, and I didn't research it, but at least 2,000 years ago, I believe, or close to 2,000 years ago. So, and some of you may know this story where Socrates talks about most people live in a cave or in the shadow. I mean, one way of describing it is people are chained to a stone wall, and all they can see on the stone wall or all they can see in the cave are shadows. So that if there were a fire, if they were chained to a stone wall and there were a fire behind them, but there were objects walking in front of the fire, all the people chained to the wall would see was the shadows. And they might give them names, but they aren't seeing reality. That's a word I'll throw out, which is pretty ambiguous too, but it's a pointer. Take it as a guidepost. So now we will shift into the optical illusions. And this is where I invite you to share what you see here. We're going to start out with some optical illusions that just demonstrate what they are. And then we'll move to some that may be a little bit more jolting in terms of emotional impact. But once you can see more than one thing in the optical illusion, then you get to choose what you're going to focus on. And you may want to notice how what you focus on either brings you inner peace, inner empowerment, inner prosperity, or whether it creates chaos and turmoil and fear and rage in your life, or shame too. Shame would be another one. So what do you see here? This is by a gentleman, he's a friend of mine, John Langdon. He does nothing, almost nothing, but these kinds of optical illusions.
I see the word optical illusion as well as a beautiful landscape and sky.
So you see the word optical?
Correct. As well as the word illusion.
Right. And can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I can't see who's speaking.
Oh, it's Summer Rose speaking.
Okay, Summer, thank you.
You're so welcome. Yeah, the picture in the background is the word illusion, with all the beautiful colors on it. Is the letter I is the first one, and then the LLUSION. And then the white part that seems like the background, just inside of those, in between each of the letters for illusion, is the word optical.
Now that's interesting because the way I initially perceived this is that the background is the scene and the letters are the foreground. But yes, you could certainly see it either way. So that's an interesting comment right there. Anyone else have anything that they'd like to say about this? Another thing I noticed about this was that the word optical seems much more left brain to me, and the word illusion seems to be more kinesthetic or more right brain. Anybody else have any comments they want to make about this?
Hi, Janet. It's Mary Linda.
How are you? Good to see you. Nice to
Thanks.
see you.
Thanks. Okay, I love this. I love playing this. I see a beautiful field that there's no separation. It just moves into the mountains, into the horizon, and I see people all sort of together there in the field.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't seen that at all before. Anybody else see anything else here?
Even and I can even see kind of like animals too. That's kind of but it, you know, as my focus goes deeper, it's like it's all connected together. Thank you, Janet.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments they want to, comments that have not yet been shared that they would like to make now before we move on to the next slide?
This is Bob. What strikes me, and maybe this is a mechanical, biological thing, but I see the two different things more clearly when I squint.
Oh, interesting.
When I squint my eyes, the optical just jumps right out. So I had to actually study to find the other word that when Summer was talking. And when I squint, it's just there. When I open my eyes fully, I see mostly the color. What's the color? The multicolor. Therefore, the word, whatever the other word is. Oh, illusion. Yeah.
And notice that nothing in the image changes. But look what our minds, all these different minds who are part of our gathering this evening, look what they're doing with these fixed lines and colors on the screen in front of us all. Think about that. Any other comments on this one?
The other thing that makes it easier to see the word optical is that the letter, in a font style, if you will, the letters are shadowed. So there's brightness as we look at it from our left, there's sun or light from our left casting a shadow on the right side of letters of the word optical.
I'm finding this fascinating because you people are noticing things that I have never noticed in this optical illusion. And I've been playing with this one for years. So thank you for all these comments and all these perceptions, shared perceptions. let's move on. And we're going to start, as I say, with some, most of you probably have seen this one before. I think it's the most common optical illusion. But what do you see here?
I have seen this before, but I want to give people a little chance that maybe if I say what it is, then it'll still be hard for them to see it. But it was hard for me. It's a beautiful woman and an old woman.
Now, interesting to note here. Yes, you can see both, but look at the different words you stick on that fixed image, depending on which you're focusing on. in a particular-
Hi, I got an important question for you.
And I cannot
Um,
see everybody on my screen, so.
Know somebody, we're just getting to know each other.
Bonnie, we're having a hard time hearing you, Bonnie. If you can get closer to the microphone or turn your microphone up.
County fair in,
We
well,
can't
it's
hear
not
you, Bonnie.
but it's near
Bonnie, we can't hear you.
12 hours drive. But no, not that one. Then I've got the wrong fair. The El Paso.
Can't hear you. Bonnie, we can't hear you.
That, it must be that fair, El Paso.
Can you move closer to the computer, Bonnie?
They're going to be staying.
I'm thinking she might be actually on a phone call and not
We're
realize.
talking about getting
I'll
together.
take care of that.
it's
There we go.
Okay.
All right, continue. Thank you. Thank you, Giselle.
Anybody else have any comments? If you see the young woman, what words would you stick on that perception?
That her head is turned away from us.
Interesting. Okay. How would you describe her? Is she ugly? Is she beautiful? Is she wearing a hat? Not wearing
She's elegant.
elegant.
Elegant, that's the word. Yep.
Okay.
She's wearing a feather as well as a kerchief over her hair.
Snobby, someone said in the chat.
now you see how interesting this gets, because as soon as we start sticking words on this fixed image, look how different the words are. And we fight over our words because each of us, if I see the young woman and you see the old hag, I know what I see and I am right and you are wrong. And, we could even get into an argument about what is really there. But once you can see both, then you've got a choice as to where you're going to focus. So
Yeah, Jim says she's wearing a 1920s hat.
okay. And if you see the old hag, what words would describe the old hag? You see her, I mean, this is the nose here and the mouth down here. And an eye rather than an ear. I mean, on the young woman, it's an ear. On the old hag, it's an eye.
She looks weary to me.
Weary. Okay. She does.
Wow, this is fun. JC in the chat says, could even be her before and after. I think that's what he's saying is, speak up if you want to open your mic, JC, that it could be the same person before and after, or in earlier time and in a later time.
That's a really interesting comment too. I've never heard that one before, and I've used this optical illusion a lot of times. Thank you, Jason.
And someone else said she looks sad. I was going to say she looks cold, cold as in temperature cold.
And what was the first comment? She looks dead?
Sad.
Oh, sad. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? What words would you stick? These are fixed lines and fixed colors in front of all of us. And yet look what we are creating out of this single image. And it's all different because the words are different and the perceptions are different.
Yeah, JC asked, why is old person always associated with sad? And I'll add to that, why is an old person associated with being a hag? Which is a,
I'm sorry. That's funny. That's a good question. That's a great question. Any other comments on this one?
Hmm.
Let's move on. This one is fun.
Oh, wow.
So what do you see here?
I see a couple looking at a lake, and I see a fetus with tree branches, or actually the vascular system from the placenta.
Okay. Anybody else have some words they want to stick on this? Who would you give your name when you start speaking? That would help me because I can't see everybody who's.
This was Morningstar that spoke.
Okay, Morningstar. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Janet. It's Mary Linda again. And what I see here again is just everything connecting. It's like the tree is leaning over to, hello, you sweet couple. And it's like everything just is connecting. There's just no, it's just everything's so inclusive and cuddly and warm and yeah,
And I notice
I feel good about it.
you tend to focus on the nature. You did before. You are here. Do you see anything else here besides the tree and the couple?
Well, again, on the water, and I see how the sky and the water all just kind of flow into each other. I see the landscape out too. It looks like there's some sun either coming up or going down, and that's kind of all in there too. But you're right, Janet. I really resonate and go into nature very quickly.
Yeah, and was it Morningstar who said she saw a fetus?
Yes.
And do you see that, Mary Linda?
No, but I would like you to point out where you see the fetus.
Oh,
There's
Well, I wouldn't use that term for it because what I see is a baby.
a baby suckling their own thumb.
Yeah, yes, it is, as a matter of fact. Here's the baby's eye, the baby's nose.
Ah, yes, I love it. I see it, Janet, and Morning. I see it. Yes.
It's just the negative
Is
space.
it-
This is about positive space and negative space, and being an artist, I see both often.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like someone's almost, I can also see, now that I'm looking at that, like someone is just kind of, floating there in the branch. Oh, I love it. Love it.
for those that don't, this is Bob. For those who don't see the chat, JC says, Mother Earth at her finest.
I'm with you, JC. I agree.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to figure out my mic for the longest time now. JC, but it's Janelle. I just leave it on as JC on the thing. But what I kind of noticed though is like, okay, people are like made of water, right? And this baby here is like mostly made of the water, like it's all at the bottom. Like that's what I'm seeing.
That's interesting.
Neat.
Yeah, a really interesting comment. Somebody else? I heard another voice.
I like that there was a comment in the chat about the baby is dream. What was that? The baby's dream. Speak up. I can't remember what was written.
Here we go. It says, Jim says, between the baby nose and arm, I see a pencil drawing a couple in embrace. Wow. Wow. Between the baby's nose and the
Oh, yeah,
arm,
I do too. I do.
I see a pencil drawing of a couple in.
I see it too. Yeah.
Oh, neat.
I have never seen that before. This is why we need one another.
And it's like we're creating a story here.
Well, we are, and we need to, you know, one of the things I like to invite people to do is both speak your own truth, but also listen to what other people have to offer. And when we're doing that, we are creating and co-creating almost you can think of it as a sharing, you can think of it as an energy field that we're co-creating together through deep listening and clear speaking. And they're both important. And interestingly enough, and this is not static, this is dynamic, because I'll bring in Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared here. This is the energetic connection. It's not solid, but this symbol, interestingly enough, is both the Christian symbol for prayer and the Hindu symbol for namaste.
Mhm. Yeah, and Janet, this is Bob again.
Yeah.
Very interesting chat here for those who can't see it. Tatiana says, young couple dreaming about the baby. Young couple, we assume they're young, or somebody assumes they're young, they're staying on the shore. The couple is dreaming about the baby, and Jim added to that in the chat, is the top one the spirit image of the couple on the shore?
Ooh, I'm getting goose pimples as I'm.
This is wonderful. Thank you, Jim, Tatiana. That's
Oh my gosh! As
delightful.
reading these comments, I literally am getting goose pimples here. Anything anybody else would like to say about this slide?
Wow. Wow.
Or shall we move on?
More.
Okay. Is the glass half full or half empty? And do you notice any difference in your body or in your thoughts if you see it as half full or you see it as half empty?
This is Morningstar.
Yes.
And yeah, I've been this question gets asked a lot, and it drives me crazy because you know what?
Sorry about that.
It's always full. What is it? It's always full of something. There's water. There's half water, half air. You know, there's always something. So it's always full. Always full.
Okay, interesting comment. Anybody else? If you're just looking at the water, do you notice any difference in your body if you see it half full or half empty? Or do you notice any difference in your emotions that as your emotions connect to those two phrases, half full or half empty?
Well, I can't resist. This is Bob.
Yeah.
Before we started recording, I had a colonoscopy earlier today. When I see this, it gives me the emotion of how many glasses of water I drank yesterday. It also tells me I'm going to mute myself and go pee. Those are my emotions of the moment.
But now here's something else that you just did, Bob. You just connected this image with an experience you had today.
Right.
Was your territory today, that experience of the colonoscopy?
Yeah. If somebody that's famished and does not have access to clean water might have a different emotion looking at this than all of us who get to turn on our privilege to turn on our tap or our water purifier and have whatever amount of water in that cup. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so this gets back to the map and the territory too. I mean, the image in a sense is a map, and or the words are a map, but we connect an image, what we perceive, or the words we stick on what we perceive with the experiences that we are having in our own culture. And as you say, if you showed this to somebody who's dying of thirst out in the desert, their thinking would be very different and their emotions would be very different from someone who can go turn on filtered water in their own kitchen. And the experiences are very different depending on each present moment, location, one's personal resources, the resources of other people, the perspectives from which any of us is looking at the world.
One thing I kind of see, it's like when I looked at this cup, I felt like I hate cups like this. They're hard to wash. Put your hand in, they break. Like it just seems like something that you wouldn't want. Like you want something like a tumbler, a cup you can just chuck it and they'll be okay. Like this one, like these cups I hate. Like just look at it, I didn't feel like oh, it's like, oh, that's so refreshing or nothing. It's like no, I hate these cups and I don't want it.
And look again at the emotions that come up. Nothing in the image changes, but look how differently each one of us is experiencing that image and the words we're sticking on it, depending on our own experiences in our own lives.
You know, Janet, Mary, Linda again. You know, the emotion coming up for me is when I look at this for a while is that, wow, water. You know, we're 70% plus water, so is our planet, and how precious water is. And I get a lot of love around me, how much I want to protect our water, both within and without. Wow, yeah.
I think it's
That's an
funny how-
image of,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say, like water's living, right? And there's nothing that looks living about this cup. Like to me, it's so negative in a way because it's like not flowing, it's not doing anything, right? Like
Yeah, and now look, we put the word water on what's in the bottom part of that glass, but that word water is a very general term. Water would also refer to the ocean. It would refer to a bubbling brook.
to cleaning, cleansing, refreshing,
Yeah, I
smoothing.
mean,
It can smooth rock.
this is where you get back again to the map is not the territory. The words are not the experience. And the underlying experience of this same word, water, is very different for each of us and even different for each of us at a different
Oh,
moment.
that's nice. Liquid love.
You know, if you're working in literature, semantics, of course, we're talking about the underlying reference, referents, of what the word or the image represents. And this is part of clear speech.
If this water's not living up to its full potential, it's just sitting there, not doing nothing.
We can see it any way we want. But that's the point. We have a choice as to how we want to see it. And, you know, for me, the choice is if what I want to create is inner peace, inner empowerment, and inner prosperity or abundance, I can choose to see this in a particular way. But it depends on what my intentions are too. And this is another one of the Buddhist Eightfold Path, is right intention. Any other comments on this one?
This is Bob. I'll share those in the chat for those that don't see it. Jim says water contains the words raw tea.
Interesting. Okay.
Rosemary broadcast from Costa Rica. I envision, quote, liquid love, the sharing of the precious water with someone who doesn't have access to it.
Look how different the experiences and the intentions and the words here. We're looking at a single image. The emotions are different. Interesting. So I would like to move on simply because I do have several more of these to explore, which actually, I pushed the wrong button.
Text, did you have a text? Did you want to jump in?
Just before we move on, I was writing. What strikes me is there's a lot of light. There's light reflecting off the rim of the glass. There's light of the surface of the water. There's light in the water, in the bottom of the glass. So to me, it's true, because the question is, what do you see? Now, that's what's striking to me, the reflections of light. And of course, there was, half glass of water. But to me, the light is what was more striking. I like to photograph, so that's, photograph the sun rising in the morning and things like that. So that's probably why I see more the light than just focusing on the half.
Yeah, and you use that word focus.
Yes.
And that's a really important word, because we can choose to focus on one. For example, you're focusing on the light in this image, but you could focus on half full, half empty, glass, or that turns me off.
Yeah.
You get to choose once you can see more than one thing here, and which choice brings peace, empowerment, and prosperity or abundance into your own life. And do you want that, or do you want something else? Maybe you don't want that.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one? We're going to move into some that are, they're still generalizations, but they're much more opposites rather than just different perceptions. So what do you see here? And this Punya Mishra is, I think, a professor at a university, and I'm sorry, I forget which one. What do you see here?
This is Morning Star. I see good and evil.
Morning Star, you're amazing. You always see both sides right away, don't you? And all right. So does everybody see both good and evil? Interesting that evil is in white and good is in black here.
Yeah.
Which is
Is it good? Sorry. What I find is, like, I just noticed your thing is, it said who, like, someone will say good and evil, and then I saw another thing, good versus evil, like they're competing. Me, I just saw like a balance, like they're both there.
with it, and it sounds as if that's with no emotional attachment to either word. They're both there.
Yep.
Okay, but some people would have strong emotional attachments to those two words, depending on what they're focusing on. And I would invite you, if any of you, if you look at the word evil, how do you feel? Do you feel different from the way you feel when you're looking at the word good? And which do you want to bring into your life? Can everybody see this is good in black? And the evil is in white here. Any emotional?
This is Bob. I wanted to ask Tex about his chat there. You said one can also say evil in good.
Yes, from that, the way it's depicted here, evil is in good. Now, one could go on and philosophize about whether there is any evil in what is supposed to be good. But as it, I mean, in the image, evil is in good. I mean, the word evil is in the word good.
That's an interesting comment. We could take that one a lot deeper. I'm thinking, for example, my life experience has been that I may have very good intentions when I act in a particular way, but somebody else, my pure intentions may affect another person in a way that they view as evil, and they'll recoil from me. I can think of a specific example. Was in a codependence retreat for, I think, a weekend, and the addicts were in a separate retreat. And everybody in the codependence retreat was going around hugging one another and talking with one another and connecting and being very warm and supportive. And it felt so good to me to be hugged all the time. And then toward the end, we went over into the addicts retreat area. And I didn't even think to ask, but I went up to one of the women who was in the addicts room and I hugged her. And she recoiled from me. And it was so stunning to me. I was so shocked. So at this point, I usually ask, do you want a hug? I don't just assume that everybody wants a hug the way I want a hug. Any other comments on this or no things?
This is Summer Rose, and I'll say you can't have good without evil.
How would you define good and evil? What do those two words mean to you?
Well, it's kind of like you can't have light without dark. Like you wouldn't recognize evil unless you know what good is, and you wouldn't recognize good unless you know what evil is. Because if everything's good, then there is no good. Or if everything's evil, then nothing is evil because it's just what is.
So
And I concur with that too. Yeah, I was going to say that too, because like the good isn't enveloping evil, and like Summer said, you can't have one. You don't recognize light unless you have the dark, and vice versa. And it's all part of life. I see that, and we need to recognize and embrace all of it.
And I'll even take that like in another deeper way, saying as good as we can be is also as evil as we can be, because it's like you've stretched yourself to one side, and then you can go, like as the pendulum swings, we can then swing all the way to the other side, and it's really being able to hold all of it, all good and all evil, in equilibrium in order to like live a life of peace and balance and harmony, like the middle way.
and is there actually, I mean, how would you distinguish between something that is good and something that is evil?
I think like what you had said before, does it cause suffering? I say suffering is evil and eliminating suffering is good.
Okay. I could go along with that. Do you think that's the only definition of good and evil?
Probably not the only one.
Probably not, is my guess. Would anybody like to take a stab at defining either good or evil? what it means to them?
Well, this is Bob. I'm not sure I'll take a swing at that ball. But I will make sure that those that haven't seen the chat and those that are on Facebook have benefited the chat from a few folks here that let's see here. Rosemary said, I see the contrast of the dark and the light. It's all good because light is surrounded, because dark is surrounded by light and is only a temporary absence of light. And I had written a note to myself here, not in the chat. It said, good, let's see, all is good, all is God, all is everything. So evil must be something inside of everything. Evil, quote unquote, whatever that means, which was your question, Janet. Evil is inside of that. So some would say, oh my goodness, my friend's child was killed in an auto accident. How could that possibly happen? Someone else could say, why is there war? That's evil. That's bad. And it's all inside of the all. And the all is the good. I also want to make a quick facilitator's comment as well, that Michael had to leave us and asked if there's a recording of this so he can hear the remainder. We probably have another 15 minutes or so available to us. The answer is we'll have this on the CCC Facebook page by tomorrow morning at the latest, and it'll be on the co-creatorsconvergence.com website under the archives sometime tomorrow at the latest Saturday morning. So please see it there. And if you're with us the whole time, share it with others. But that great question, Janet, about who would like to take a stab at defining what is good and what is evil?
And I'll just throw out another question. Then, because I have a few more slides to go through, we probably need to move on. But is something that we perceive as evil as we are experiencing it? For example, if someone, for a woman, if someone rapes her or strikes her, hits her or verbally abuses her, is that something that at one point in her life she would perceive as evil? And then it would be a catalyst for her personal growth into something much bigger than she would have been without that ugly experience. Does it give her passion and purpose and propel her to make a bigger contribution in the world? I think I'm going to let that one sit, and you can think about it if you want to. We'll go on to the next slide. Oh, I pushed the wrong button again. Okay. Find the hidden tiger. Some of you may have seen this before. This is by someone I've never met, but he too lives in Sarasota, Florida. So can you find the hidden tiger? And I normally would let this question sit out there longer, but because we're running tight on time, I'm going to move it along and offer you a hint. I mean, some people think they see.
Funny. That's funny how it is.
Do you see? I'm sorry, I can't see who's talking, but can you see that?
Janelle. Yeah, I see it.
Where?
On the tiger.
Exactly. Exactly. Or what are you looking for?
Wow.
When I ask that question, I give that instruction, find the hidden tiger. What do those words mean? What are you looking for? Are you looking for eyes, for example? Are you looking for an image back here in the trees? Or are you looking for words?
I was looking for an image and not the words.
Exactly. But do you see it now? The hidden tiger. And once you see it, you will always see that again. You will always be able to see it again, but perhaps without some guidelines or some words to point you in the right direction. You can sit here for a long time looking at that and asking yourself, where is that darned hidden tiger? I don't see any hidden tiger in there.
Jim sees a black wolf behind the tiger. I'm trying. You mean behind its rear end to the right there, Jim? Where the eyes were that Janet showed?
Over
Or-
here.
I don't see. It must be an image. I don't know.
However, the instruction is not to find the wolf. The instruction is to
All right.
the hidden tiger, unless you want to categorize a wolf as a hidden tiger and say that they're the same thing, which of course you can do if you want. Again, let's move on here. Now, again, what do you see? And unfortunately, I was not able to quite get this entire image on my PowerPoint slide. But again, what do you see? And this, well, this is interesting because one thing that you can see may have some emotional impact, whereas another thing that you see probably doesn't have any emotional impact. So what do you see here?
Oh, wow. Cool.
Nothing?
I see
Yeah,
a
there's something there.
lie in the word
Makes
lie.
you mad.
I'm sorry, what do you see?
If it's summer speaking, and I see a person as well as the name liar, I believe.
Yes. Yes. And I did, actually, some people see a man's face here. Nose, glasses are up here,
Good.
chin. And then some people see the word liar, L-I-A-R. And I had one person comment at one of the workshops I once did. Well, isn't that interesting that a man's face is a liar? Which brought down the whole room.
And what is it that makes it a man's face?
Well, yeah, that's, what do you see? Do you see a woman's face? Or are you asking a question?
Yeah, just a question into the space. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody want to say anything else about this one?
Oh, I can see Jim mentioned a mustache. I can see that now that he said it. I can see that. Yeah.
And it's funny, I don't really see a mustache. I mean, to me, this would be a mouth here, but
I did not see the letter R. This is Morningstar. I did not see the letter R. I could sort of see.
unfortunately,
I did see what's Leah? So anyway,
well, this is an R, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to put the full picture on a PowerPoint slide. And I tried several sizes and it came out this way. It's the best I could do, but yes, this is an R if you see the full photo. Moving on.
By the way, a quick, Janet, Bob again, a quick reflection from some of the comments on the previous slide, previous to this one slide, or two back. Jim said, good contains the word dog and God, evil contains the word live. And
interesting.
yeah, and then Rosemary just said in the chat, oh, where'd it go, Rosemary? Here it is. I would like to add further reflection, previous image. Could the word evil actually be the word live? And therefore, to live is good. Just a few more in there. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And of course, there are some languages, and right off the top of my head, I don't know which ones, but they write right to left instead of left to right. And
Yeah.
I just realized I must have missed this one.
Yeah, you popped past that one real quick. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't intend.
Love and hate. Right.
Exactly. but it's called love. This again is by John Langdon. So, yeah, this one can be kind of shocking.
Spooky.
Well, it depends on what you see. What do you see?
The
Morning star
skull.
here. Yeah, it's a skull and then a woman looking at a reflection of herself.
Exactly. All is vanity. Isn't that? It's an interesting combination to me, because you can think of this, of either image that you see as pointing to those words, all is vanity, which come from Ecclesiastes in the Bible.
Hmm.
Comments on this? We have a little less than 10 minutes left. Anything in the chat that you want to add?
Not on this image, I don't think.
All right, let's move on. This is MC Escher's Circle Limit 4. And again, real fast. What do you see here? And that's supposed to be a complete circle. And again, it just wouldn't fit for me on the PowerPoint slide.
Beginning to see all the whites are angels or doves. Angels, I guess. Our perception of typical image of angels. The dark are maybe typical images of bats.
Or devils, maybe.
Or devils. Oh, I see now. Devils. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, depending on what you see, you're going to, I think, experience this very differently. I had one woman in one of the workshops I did who couldn't even look at this image. She almost walked out of the room because it upset her so to look at this, because she was seeing the black images. And sorry, I didn't mean to click that yet, but
Never seen that one before.
yeah. Let's move on. This is called Us. Can you see why it's called Us?
Oh, yeah.
Why? What do you say?
Me and you.
Yeah.
Not seen this before either.
This is John Langdon again. His website is really very interesting, johnlangdon.net. Just go on there and play around with that if you have some time and interest in pursuing this. Anybody else on this? And we're pressed for time right now, so maybe I just flip through the final couple that I've got here. This is called Earth, and we're going here. You notice we're going from almost an individual perception of an image and how it impacts your own body, if it does, or the words you stick on it. And then we're moving into a relationship image, which was this last one, Us, which is probably two people, but it could be more than two, but it's a smaller group of people. And then this is Earth, which is everything. So what do you see here? Let's take just a little time on this.
See a
Morning
black
star-
man.
morning star again. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Summer.
Yeah, I see a black man and then also a ton of animals, obviously. There's
You want to name any of the animals?
Sure. I mean, there's a ram, there's a elephant, there's a deer, there's a lion, there's looks like a kangaroo. I see a squirrel. I see a pig. I see a bear. I see lots of
Monkey,
horse.
rabbit.
And this almost looks like a human body, or at least I could see it that way.
You know, it's a whole big body, and then his head is turned in the top of his body. If you keep going to the top into the dark space, there's an ear and a. There you go. Yeah, it's his head, his ear, his
Like
nose,
a cow or something.
like a cow, exactly, looking over his body.
But this almost looks like a human torso and legs to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
So Summer, this is Bob, you're saying you see a black man?
I see a black man, I guess because it's kind of got like a black nose a little bit, and the hair looks kind of afro-ish.
Is that here or someplace else?
No, his nose is in the front, all the way to the right. What's kind of the top right is his kind of very rounded nose. And then underneath his nose looks like a mustache.
Are you up here or some, because I don't see that.
Coming down, you've got a forehead right where the arrow is, a little below and to the left. That's a forehead.
It's
Below
a
that,
profile.
to the left, the wolf's mouth is an eye. That animal right there is the nose.
The profile, you're looking at it sideways.
Profile view looking towards the right.
I saw like a Roman man. He's like, I didn't see a black man. I just see a profile of a man.
So you're talking about the whole thing here then?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So the thing you thought was a human and was being an animal is like a scarf or something.
Okay.
I saw it as a indigenous person.
Mm.
Same profile view that you're describing, but an indigenous with a lot of like a headdress, ornamental headdress kind of thing, scarf, some kind of clothing. The two big animals at the bottom being some type of clothing.
A
Shoulder.
lot of difference between an indigenous man and a Roman. And coming back to the end of our time and the end of the slideshow, we come full circle back to planetary peace, power, and prosperity. Now, if this is something which is letting go of your own suffering and also helping others release their suffering by using all these different ways we're seeing the world and maybe using them right here, right now, in this present moment. And I know T.S. Eliot refers to it as the still point. Ram Dass says, be here now. If we can choose where to position our mind, be here now. Buddhism would use the word awareness, present moment awareness. You can actually surrender into or sink into a full connection. And I'm using words here and they sure aren't perfect, but it's like an energetic flow through that then directs your mind and directs your words in each and every present moment of awareness to position yourself. And this gets into alchemy, really. Position yourself and your own role in each and every moment in a way that will create, co-create, and manifest. Not the power over and the power against, but a power with dynamic.
And would you like to, if you're okay, to end your share and we can invite everyone to open their video for gallery view.
Let's do that.
All right. Gallery view. Good. So anyone that turns on is on. This has been wonderful, Janet. Thank you.
You start playing with this and it is fascinating and it is fun. So you allow yourself to play. And but you're in choice in each and every moment. Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage and the people, the players thereon. Well, go pick your role. They have their entrances and their exits. But what is it you want to create or co-create with whatever time you've been given in this physical body? And none of us knows. So it's kind of if you don't know how much time you have, use each moment fully, live each moment full out.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Janet. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I mean, I've really enjoyed putting this thing together. I could have put in a lot more slides, but we didn't really have time.
I think it was a
Thank
wonderful, wonderful discussion, Janet. And I don't know if people realize this, but when we do these Thursday night calls, the Co-Creators Convergence, we have a guest and then we invite that guest to invite the next guest. So
Oh gosh, I forgot I was supposed to do that.
yes, it's a pay it forward. So we're not just like, we just really don't want people to come in and, drop the truth bomb on us and fly away. We want to kind of weave, and it's been a wonderful weaving together. Summer knows, she's been, she's seen some of these before, and of course, Tex is just one of our biggest fans.
It's been in the combo seat and the combo invitee and the combo recipient.
Yes. So we invite all who would, like to present to contact us, co-creators@likepartners.org, or through our website or Facebook page. Join that. And Janet, we look forward to whoever you're going to invite.
Yeah.
So I get to think about it, is what you're telling me, because I have not focused on that.
Sure, please
Yes,
do,
not
because
here on the spot.
we've got the month of July in the queue, all on batter's box, and so that's wonderful. But absolutely love this idea of paying it forward in that way. It broadens the circle. It pays it forward. It does what co-creation is about, and then we can come back around the circle once again. This has been a joyful evening, Janet. I was really tired at the beginning. I was really tired from my exciting day in the medical system. And this was just so energizing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for that.
And energizing because of all the participation. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Wonderful participation.
It takes each and every one of us to make this happen. We need everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. We wish you the very best for the remainder of your day. Peace and blessings.
Peace. Thank you so much.
Join us next week, July 15, when Cynthia Diane Clayton, also known as Karima, leads the conversation about understanding the science and mystery of human light body. See you then.